This is Believe in Buckeyes. I'm Brian Browning with All-American Chimdi Chekwa. This show is brought to you by Bet Online. And chill, I mean, something with the ad, right? I mean, what we got?
Yeah, bet online, man. There's a lot of stuff to bet on right now. There's a
lot of
lot
stuff.
of, if you're watching the Olympics, there's a lot of stuff out there, man. You got ping pong, you got men's basketball, women's basketball, you got what else they
Air rifle today. I think the final air rifle that happened today. Yeah. You got foil. Someone from Cleveland, Ohio won the foil gold medal. That's like fencing. Back-to-back gold medal championship. Foil. It's a sport.
I don't want further.
You know what fencing is, but they call it foil. Young lady out of Cleveland, Ohio. She's currently in medical school at Kentucky. Back-to-back gold medals. So, her first name is Lee. I'm gonna butcher her last name, but Lee from Cleveland. Yeah. Hey, but I didn't know you could bet on the Olympics. That's just seem crazy.
Bet on the Olympics. I don't know how many sports are in it. Like I don't know all the details, but I do know that on your first $250, you get a 50% free bet credit through Bet Online. So if you ever wanted to explore, this is the time to do it. So
this is the time. This is the time to do it. That's right. But hey, Chum, when this show comes out, we speak a little bit earlier the week, but when this show comes out, man, the guys are going to be reported to the hotel, man. Camp is here. We made it. We survived the off season, man. It's here, man. We did it. Congratulations. Just clap that up, man. So, you always get a little weary in there. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. It's time, man. We've been building up all year for this. Complaining about stuff, celebrating stuff. Mm-hmm. None of that stuff matters now, right? Because now it's time to watch, to prepare to watch real football being played. And man, Ohio State has a team, man. They got a very, very impressive team. And they had Big Ten Media Day here recently?
Yep.
And Ryan Day talked a little bit about that team. And one of the first things I thought was interesting was questions about, his decision to hire Chip Kelly, and kind of what that meant. Because, we talked about it for, I think, maybe about a couple seasons, right? That, Ryan Day needed to look into giving up play calling and really focusing on the bigger picture, right? I think one of the advantages that Team Up North had was their ability to really focus on the game throughout the year and get prepared and figure out, okay, how do we continue to improve and get better? It always felt like Ohio State wasn't really getting better until after the season. After the season, we fix everything. Some of those fixes need to happen during the season. But one thing he said he trusts Chip Kelly with his life. Right?
With his life. Wow. His life. Whoa.
That's the level of trust it took for him to give up that play calling, apparently.
Yeah, man, I said it like when he first hired Chip. I was like, it felt like he kind of hired what? Kind of like your shirt. He hired his dad, right? And then, he started making. Obviously they're close. If you're in the football world, you get it, right? This is your college coach, right? You get into coaching. He brings you along. He takes you to the NFL with him. Then from there, you kind of branch off a little bit, right? And obviously, Coach Day had success at Ohio State. Coach Urban steps down. Coach Day gets the job. Chip is coaching, right? He's coaching. He's at UCLA. They're having some up and down season. He has a nice, young, talented roster. But he said, you know what? NIL is going on now. I think the game's a little bit different. I'm going to go do something I love. I'm going to go coordinate with somebody that I could trust and go to Ohio State where I could be locked in for years and we could just have success and I don't have to essentially be looking on my shoulders that every time I make a decision, I'm gonna be showed the door. And that's great. That's fantastic for Coach Chip Kelly. I'm just a little worried about that still because once again, let's say things are not going to wreck. Are you going to be so quick to make a change at the coaching position?
I don't think that's an option. I don't think. When you bring in Chip Kelly, and for a second, let's take Ryan Day out of the mix. Let's say this is I don't know, Joe Schmo coach, any other coach. Yeah, he's the head coach. When you bring in a coach the caliber of Chip Kelly, you're not really getting rid of that guy. Like you're tied to him. I mean, you can if things aren't working out, but nobody's gonna be like, oh yeah, it's really Chip Kelly that's messing up this team. Like it's gonna fall on you. Like if Chip Kelly's out the door, you're probably out the door too. Now bring Ryan Day back into the mix. Who Chip Kelly is to him, as you alluded to, yeah, that's going to be the guy. But I think the real benefit, I mean, we talked about the potential benefits of having Chip Kelly as your offensive coordinator, but I think the real benefit is that Ryan Day isn't going to continue to look over the shoulder of the coordinator. I don't know if you've experienced, when you have that head coach who used to be a coordinator. For me in Oakland, it was Dennis Allen. He was defensive. He's our head coach, but he used to be a defensive coordinator for the Saints before he came to Oakland. And he hired a young defensive coordinator, Jason Tarver. And we'd be asking for the call on the field, and they arguing about what they should call. It's like Jason Tarver putting in a call, and the DA would be like, no, we're not running that. Do something else. And then he send us something else. And they're like, no, I don't want that. Do something else. And it's like, we don't even got a call. Like, we just running cover 2. Like, I don't foresee that level of, like disagreement or, Ryan Day being like, I'm not sure about this game plan. Like, Chip Kelly's going to command the offense. And Ryan Day is going to be able to prepare from a more holistic standpoint. Let's make sure this team is solid. If there's an issue, let's address that issue. How do I plan for the next 3 weeks? Is our schedule messed up to where we need to stop doing this because it's hurting us? Like, I think that's something that's missing. And honestly, it shows this is like the maturation of Ryan Day as head coach and the maturation of Ohio State football for the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, and it's needed, right? I think we don't have many conversation. It's needed. I poke a little fun at it, right? But obviously, I think it's going to be very successful. I believe our running backs this year, Henderson and Judkins, is going to have monster years. Just monster years. Just unreal. And I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, we got to make a decision at quarterback. Most likely, it's going to be Will Howard, right? And we'll see how he plays in the shoe and command that offense. And we already know what's on the outside, right? We got Carnell Tech, we got Emeka Ibuka, we got Jeremiah Smith. We got guys left and right, so we already know what we have there. The offense will be fine. Jim knows his back. We brought back basically the whole defense, so we're expecting a really high bar there. So everything should be fine going into this year. But now that we're here in camp, you kind of have to think about it a little bit twofold, right? You got a lot of veteran guys there, right? A lot of guys that know exactly what's going on, what's expected of them, going to camp to kind of just sharpen the iron more or less and just kind of improve their game and get ready for the season. But as we know, this season is going to be a little bit longer than any other season if you want to win a national championship. They're going to have to bring in some young guys as well and make sure that they're mentally and physically ready to kind of go out there and perform on Saturdays, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and I think Ohio State is uniquely built this year to win a championship, to go on a championship run in a season where, it's going to be a new playoff format, etc. And the reason isn't just because of the talent. Like, Ohio State has talent every year, right? Mm-hmm. But the reason is because of the experience across the board. Like, they watched what that team up north was able to do. And part of the reason why they were able to do it is because it's not just that. I mean, they had talented players. They had a good team, a really good team. But they had a lot of experience across the board. And I think, in college, especially at a school like Ohio State, where a lot of guys may leave after 3 years, like, it's not always easy to have a ton of seniors on the team who are high-level players. And that's what they have. So I think that's going to be key. But then, as you mentioned, because it's a longer season, because guys are likely going to be in and out of the lineup. I mean, what's the percentage chance of getting hurt in football? It's 100%. Right?
100%.
The need to have that depth is going to be important. I think they have depth at almost every position. There's a few positions where, a couple guys go out and it starts to feel really light. But overall, and I'm talking offensive line and safety are the two ones that I could pinpoint. But overall, they got a lot of depth at every position. I'm talking about high talented depth. Like, the second and third guy, like, legitimately could be starters. So they're really built to make this run.
Yeah, and one thing that you just said, like, where we could be a little bit thin at is that offensive line. One thing Coach Day said in his pressure is that the offensive line is going to determine if we're national championship. I mean, he didn't say it word for word like that, but basically, the offensive line is going to determine, the trajectory of this team. And man, if that's not the truest comment Coach Day has made in the longest amount of time, when it comes to the offensive line, obviously last year, it just felt like we was out of sync, right? I mean, the talent we had there, the guys we had up there, I mean, they was guys, right? Physically, they was essentially almost always fine. But mentally, it felt like we was kind of just missing things, right? It's like we just have guys missing, right? And then you look at it, it's like, well, what happened, right? It just can't. It's kind of tough to identify but someone's supposed to get the linebacker who ran in the backfield,
right?
Henderson on 3rd and 1, right? I mean, someone's supposed to account for that guy, and we just wasn't really seeing it. I mean, that was kind of the theme of the season when it came to the offensive line. This felt like a lot of times there was a little bit out of sync on exactly who they were supposed to be working to as a unit. I mean, I think we broke down the Notre Dame play that we scored a touchdown and win. It's like, it was blocked horribly, right?
Yeah,
I mean, Notre Dame went out there with 10 people on the field, and they still let it got free and run into the backfield. But we obviously prevail, and we score, we win. No one really even looks into it, but it's like, man, what's going on? So with Chip Kelly being there, I think when we had our combo show with the Oregon guys, leaving the Oregon. They said it like Chip Kelly would make this offense simple. They'll let he'll basically be able to unleash our linemen because they know exactly what they're doing and be able to play fast. And essentially, I mean, I think that's what's needed. Right? They know their assignments. They know exactly who they're working to, and then they can just go physically up front. I mean, we should be dominant. Just go out and dominate guys, and it'll be now it's kind of time to see it. We know it's a little bit of competition, but essentially, we basically have 5 guys on the offensive line, in the room, rather, with at least a season starting under their belt. The little competition at the right guard position between Tegra, look like Luke, look like Hinsman is also there as well. That's my plug. You move Hinsman from center to guard since we brought Seth in from Alabama. That's my shameless plug. But we'll let that play out to see how it goes. But I think we talked about it before. Make a starting 5 unit. Week 1 in camp, let these guys play together, and then let's go out there and run because that unit is going to definitely determine the success of this team.
Yeah, I'm not buying that they don't have the talent at the offensive line. I'm just not buying. I think it's honestly, I think it's kind of scapegoating the coaches who should have these guys prepared to play football. Now, they may not have first round, second round, third round talent at every position on the offensive line. Yeah. But they don't need that. No team needs that level of talent at every position on the offensive line. And Ohio State definitely has enough to get it done. And they got some talented guys up there.
Oh, they definitely got some talented guys. They got some first round, second round, third, guys exactly. on the line. Yeah.
So they should be prepared. And as we talk about, I expect Chip Kelly to have these guys prepared to play football games. And honestly, I mean, that's one where you think about weakness. That's one where we point to only because of the play from last year. Mm-hmm. But again, as you just mentioned, like every time I watch it, it never feels like the individual. I mean, obviously there's some plays that are missed, and you could pinpoint where a guy missed a play. That's football, right? But every time I watch it, I never look at it and say, "Hey, man, this guy just doesn't have it." Like this play was blown up because that guy just doesn't have the talent. I always look at it and say, "Man, they just didn't do this right." Like whatever the defense did to him, it worked, and they as a unit didn't get this thing. They just didn't do it right. Like the operation was off. So I don't expect that this season a lot. And honestly, one thing I want to look out for this season, because we kind of mentioned it early, talking about Ryan Day not giving up the offensive play calling duty, is in the past. It seemed like the past few seasons they didn't get that much better throughout the year. Mm-hmm. Like wherever they had issues at, those issues showed up again in the Michigan game, or they showed up again in the bowl game or the playoff or whatever. Yeah. What I expect to see, what I'm hoping to see, especially with Chip Kelly taking over the offense and Ryan Day kind of manning the team and being that CEO, I expect to see issues that we see in week 1 and week 2 to be solved in week 3 and week 4. You know what I'm saying? Like issues we see in week 3 and week 4, getting the Big Ten play, and those things are solved. Like that's one thing that always troubled me the last couple years is that it's like, man, it seems like this is a problem. And they almost feel like we're just gonna have to deal with this problem for the rest of the season. It's like we just don't got enough time to actually address it. Or if we do fix it, by the time we fix it, it's so late in the year that it's just the team hasn't improved that much. I expect the team to be getting better throughout the year. By the time it comes playoff, that's it. That's the team that's ready to go make the run. And that's what I'm expecting to see this year.
Yeah, right. I mean, just in general, just one more last thing on that is that, when it comes to football, right, it's not always the play call. A lot of times it's just simply the execution, right? Yeah. If your guys is executing the play, coach would call, I don't know, a run play on 3rd and long. If you execute it properly, everybody get to where it's supposed to be, hat on the hat, we could easily turn that into a first down, easily turn that to a touchdown. Because basically every play is designed to score a touchdown, right? And that's just kind of how football goes, man. But real quick though, speaking of camp, I mean, obviously we know who the older guys are returning, and we talk about the younger guys and us needing to have that depth. Can you give me a name or maybe someone that you're looking for to maybe catch you some clips of in camp to see that they're improving and showing that they're actually ready to go this season, and that we could, that we're going to be able to count on them when needed?
Yeah, I think the linebacker like group as a whole, well, not as a whole. I would say C.J. Hicks and Sonny Styles are the two that I'm looking at. That you kind of see one Sonny Styles transition to linebacker, which I expect to be a relatively smooth transition. He looked a lot like a linebacker last year, and then C.J. Hicks really getting his first opportunity as a starter. I'm interested to see them, but also to see how they're being used, because I think there's a lot of talent at that linebacker position. Cody Simon, I think, is just going to be a guy that is going to be consistently as a consistent starter. Someone's going to be playing high level football all year. Yeah. But those other two guys getting kind of their first real action, potentially as starters. I'm interested, and then even Orville Reese, like, how is he going to be used this year? Because I think there's a lot of talent in those guys, but being able to play them all, one, is going to be a question mark, and then two, how they are able to seize the moment of being able to be a starter or potential or get significant playing time this season.
Right. And I'm going to go ahead and throw a name out there for myself. I'm going to keep it on the offensive line, but I'm going to put a little bit more pressure on Tegra Shabola. Obviously, there's a little bit of competition for him at that right guard. And I already said I'm biased. I believe Hinsman should win that spot. I've seen practice. I've seen the spring game, and to me, it just feels like a natural fit, him in that guard spot. He got the size for it, and, I think he has the experience, right? He just started a whole season at the center position. I like moving him to guard. But a guy like Tegra, he's been in the mix for essentially two seasons, right? He's going to his, I believe, his 3rd or 4th season here at Ohio State, and he's always in the mix, right? He's in the mix if it's a left tackle. We're trying to figure out who's going to be the left tackle before Simmons got here. But it was Tegra over there and Fryer. In that right tackle, it was a little bit of competition over there. You put Tegra back over there with Fryer. You have Zen Milowski kind of competing over there. And now you're competing at the right guard spot, and Tegra is back in the mix. And every good offensive line, you obviously have your 5 stars. You want those guys to be good. You want them to play as a unit, understand each other, communicate, and play well, right? Yeah. But it's football. Guys are going to get nicked, as we already stated. You need a number 6 guy, number 7 guy that you could just plug in and kind of just keep the unit running smoothly. They're smart enough, capable enough to know the positions, right? Right side, left side, guard, tackle, maybe some center, if they have the ability to. But you need a guy like that, in my opinion, that's to kind of ease the mind of the unit. They know if someone goes down, we don't have to, play someone that does not have experience, someone we don't really trust. We got to change up the play calling because of this person, but we can kind of go out there and continue to run our offense because we know we got a guy that's capable. So I'm really interested to see how Tegra just continue to grow. Obviously, like I say, he's been on the outside. Now he's on the inside, so we want to see him do a little bit more there. And hopefully he can kind of solidify the offensive line as being that number 6 guy this season and just once again just building that unit to be really strong. Because as Coach Day said, we go as far as the offensive line takes us. So
yeah, and there shouldn't be any situation like what we saw in the what was that, in the bowl game? There shouldn't be that if a new starter comes in and now the entire offense don't work anymore. Like it should not be the case. I think another guy on offense for me is Carnell Tate. Because I remember when I first went to practice last year, I watched him play, and I'm like, man, this kid is special. And I thought, really, he was probably the third receiver last year. He should have been the third receiver. I thought he should have got a lot more opportunities. And you know how things are. There's a lot. There's a lot that goes into why you play, why you don't play, outside of just being there to catch the ball, right?
Right.
So now he's in another. Is year 2 for him. But there's another young guy who's talented, who's a special player in Jeremiah Smith, who's likely going to get a lot of touches. So I think Carnell Tate is prime for a breakout year. And I mean, because of Jeremiah Smith and because of all the guys coming back, like, you don't hear much about him.
Yeah.
But man, he is a really smooth, talented player. And when the reason I'm so high on him is it's just how he plays, because a guy coming from high school typically has a transition in your ability to play at the college level with kind of the smoothness, right? You may have the talent, the explosiveness, and all that stuff, but just the little nuances in football to be able to get open and make catches, you kind of learn that over time. And he seemed like he had it the first time he stepped on the field at the college level. So I'm excited to see him play. And I mean, you can go down the list at every position and talk about how exciting it is to see guys play. But I'm hearing on NCAA that Quishon Junkins has a spin move that is unstoppable. Have you experienced that?
Man, listen, man, I got the game, right? And I said last year I was going to get it so I could talk about this game. My gamer tag is Big B Stunner, BIGBSTUNA. It's a long story behind that gamer tag, but it's been existing for, let's say, many a moons. Let's put it like that. But yeah, I got the game, and I'm gonna be honest, man. I'm trash, bro. I'm trash on the game. I got the game. I was just like riding a bike. You know, I've been playing Madden my whole life. You know, whatever. I'm playing as much now. Like, you know, whatever. I pick up the game, man, I'm getting destroyed, man. The first game, I pick Ohio State versus. I ain't gonna say, but let's put it like this. I played a team that I really wanted to win, and I got destroyed.
Did you lose to Michigan, bro?
Hey, man, listen, I said I ain't gonna say the team. I said I'm not gonna say the team, but just know I picked the team. I played against a team I really wanted to win, and I got destroyed. But yeah, man. So yeah, but Big B Stunner, if anybody want to add me, I'm always willing to play.
If y'all want to build
better.
If you want to build your confidence up on the game, if you're out there and you want to get some practice in, Big B Stunner. It's not Big B Stunner 70, just Big B Stunner.
Just Big B Stunner, yeah.
Big B Stunner. You got to spell Stunner for him now.
Yeah, everybody. That's STUNNA.
Okay.
And I'll be there. That's okay. But yeah, man. But yeah, I'm trash, man. I'm trash. But I will get better. I'm gonna stick to it. You know, I'm gonna do the things that's needed to improve my game. But speaking of that Jackson spin, man, that thing I seen it. I just can't execute it myself. I seen it on social media, but I just can't execute it myself. But that thing is it's pretty lethal. I heard that Ohio State, you can't play with them in some competitive leagues because of the Junkins spin. I seen that, so it's a real thing.
Well, I hope that spin exists this season in real life. The same level of unstoppable spin move. One other thing that came out, and I don't know what the specific term is, but the NCAA is supposed to be like putting out kind of I don't know what the term is, but just like alerting Michigan of the fact that there's something coming. There's some sanctions coming for the cheating scandal. And was everything that's being reported seems it's going to be, it makes it feel like it's going to be really light. Almost like a real slap on the wrist, which I mean at this
doesn't
point,
make any sense.
It does, it doesn't make sense. But that's what it feels like it's trending towards. And it goes back to I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory or what, but I just have this feeling that Michigan has a lot of individuals in very powerful, influential places. And one of those individuals might be the one handing down the sanctions. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean that's the feeling of it, right? I mean, we started talking about when NCAA came out, the preview of it. It's like, what's going on? Then you realize, you look at who made the game. It's like 3 or 4 like Michigan alums,
exactly,
that's developing the game. So but it's
they
cool.
They gave Junkies the spin move, the unstoppable spin move too. So I can't be.
But when I play a certain team, I can't beat them, Chim. That's the thing. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying that team name, but it's a certain team on there. So it maybe it's like they put a little code, a little glitch in there to kind of hinder my play. But whatever. I'm gonna get better.
It's because you're a Buckeye, man. You gotta.
That's right. We're not gonna just go. We might be bad, but we're not gonna stay bad. That's right. That's right. But again, if you guys following our show, Adam and Rhett from Believe in Big Ten currently has a show on our line here on our channel. Rather, they did a good show, a great show regarding the Big Ten Media Day. So if you're on our line, you should figure who are these guys talking? That's not Bryant and Chim. That's Adam and Rhett. They're part of our Believe in Buckeyes crew. Did a fantastic show. So if you're looking for additional information about how that Big Ten Media Day go, feel free to check out that episode. Definitely some good guys there. But yeah, I mean, next week we'll be talking a little bit more about what we heard took place at camp and who's standing out and who's not, man. So definitely looking forward to that. Chim, anything else before we wrap this up?
No, I think that's it. I gotta get on the NCAA game and get active too. So
good luck, man. It's serious competition out there, man. But yeah, we're gonna end the show as we always do with a nice OH.
Ayo.
Go Bucks, and we catch you guys soon.
Go Bucks.